Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you the food that we have preserved, mostly from food that we grew in our garden. And so there'll be a few parts to this video. The first part I'll be showing you the canned goods that we have preserved, and then I'll show you some of the dried herbs that I grew this year and some of the things that I have made from them, and talk about some ideas I have for using them in the future. Then we will take you down to the basement where we are storing this food, show you what that setup looks like, and some of the root vegetables we have down there, and that will basically be it. Now we're going to talk about the jars of food that we have here. So this year we bought a pressure canner, and that was just a really great thing to get. I was really intimidated about a pressure canner. I didn't really know anybody who used them, and so thankfully I had a friend who came over and showed me how to use it, and from then on it's been really fun to be able to pressure can things that wouldn't normally be preserved by us. So that's been good. I've just delved a tiny bit into that, and I'll explain which foods here were pressure canned and which ones were water bath canned. So we'll start with the tomatoes. We grew lots of tomato plants this year. Didn't get a ton of tomatoes, but we got enough. I made lots of pizza sauce. This is just a recipe I used from my mom. I've always used this recipe. And then we have some salsa. Made lots of salsa. We do sell some canned goods each summer, so I know that any extra will be not gone to waste. Plus, it's always great to be able to give away some canning. It's fun. So I made tomato soup this year. I never made tomato soup before because I didn't have a food mill or a sieve or anything like that to strain out the seeds, and it was a really busy year. I had a baby in May, and so 2 little ones. It was very busy. It was hard to fit the time in for canning, and I found this recipe, and it was no seeds removed, nothing. It was very simple. I'll actually show you where I got that recipe from. I've seen a number of people who do pressure canning refer to this book, The Complete Guide to Pressure Canning, and I decided to buy it, and it's been great. I would highly recommend it, and so that is where I got my tomato soup recipe from. So it's been really helpful so far. Okay, so I made a few batches of pickles, grew cucumbers, bought some plants, several different kinds, and made pickles. Got some quart jars and some pints downstairs of these dill pickles. Just love this recipe. Ever since I went deep diving into the pickles and how to get them to be crunchy and taste amazing, then this is the recipe that I've stuck with. It's from the homesteading family. Now, I made some bean pickles again, green beans. These are delicious, and yeah, they're really good. So I wanted to pressure can some green beans too, but I always do freeze some, and there didn't end up being enough. So hopefully next year I can try pressure canning some green beans. Here is some cowboy candy that I made with jalapenos. We grew a ton of jalapenos. Like, I'm not sure what I was thinking when I planted, 24 jalapeno plants? It was a lot. And so I made a lot of this. Hopefully we'll be able to sell it next year because we might go through 1 jar. Okay, now we have some beet pickles. These are always fun to make. We don't eat a lot of them, so most of these will be sold. But yeah, they're beautiful, and beets are very easy to grow, so it's easy to have lots of beets to work with. So moving on, I did just 2 types of meals in a jar. So these would both be soups. Right here, we have chicken corn chowder and south of the border soup. So a combination of chicken, beans, and veggies. And these would mostly be from veggies that we grew, not entirely. And then chicken broth that I made from chickens that we raised. And so I have grown to really appreciate having jars of soup and stew in the pantry so I could just quickly grab it and serve it when I don't have time to make a meal or don't feel like cooking. So I really would like to make more of those meals. I just, with the busyness of the summer and the garden, basically only had time to work with what we grew, and as fast as the produce was ripening, we had to deal with it. So that was pretty busy. I bought some apricots, and they were mostly going to be for fresh eating, I think, but they were just super overripe, and so we ended up canning most of them. So I'm not sure how these are going to taste. I haven't tasted them yet. We don't really eat canned fruits that much. It's just one of those things people love to can, and so when you're new to canning, like we are, you kind of just want to try the normal things that people can, and so I think over time we're learning what types of foods we like to eat that are canned and what types of foods we don't tend to reach for. So this is another new thing that I canned this year. This is some pumpkin cubes, and it should be very nice because oftentimes when I want to use pumpkin puree, I will have frozen it and have to like pull out the big chunks of frozen pumpkin and melt it in the sink because we don't have a microwave. So this should be faster. Okay, now we have a bunch of fruit products. I think everything else here is fruit. So a friend of ours gave us a bunch of tiny crab apples. I thought I'd just make some juice out of it. And then as I was boiling it away, I thought, why don't I just keep boiling it and simmering it and reducing it? And then I only have to can a few jars instead of just a lot of little jars. We'll grab like 2 or 3 jars for one meal. It doesn't really make sense, I thought. So I just made some apple juice concentrate. And then made a couple different kinds of jam. Actually, yeah, the apricots that we bought, a lot of them were just way too soft to can, and so I decided to make a lot of apricot jam. This stuff is not thick enough. I need to rebatch it, but I just left it for the fall winter season when I had more time. Same goes with this strawberry jam. We did not pick strawberries. We did not grow strawberries. We bought strawberries that pre-picked because I really love picking berries, but this summer just could not find the time. So yeah, made some strawberry jam. It's also very thin, so I'll have to do that again. Now we have some Saskatoon jam. We also bought pre-picked Saskatoon berries. This is delicious, this Saskatoon jam. I would highly recommend making it if you never have. It's very, very good. And I also made some rhubarb jam. So yeah, it's delicious. We don't eat a lot of jam, but I like to make it to sell it and give it away. It's great gifts. So one of our neighbors has a choke cherry tree, and she said, hey, come on over and pick them. So we picked choke cherries and made some syrup, and I just love choke cherry syrup, and it's been fun to have a little bit on hand. My grandma always would make it when we were young, and that was always really delicious. So, and then another neighbor has a tart cherry tree, and so we came and picked some cherries and made some tart cherry juice. I don't remember how much sugar I added to this, but not very much because I wanted it to be like healthy. So it's very good. And sometimes I forget which recipes I use, and if they're not from a book, if I just look up online, it's not very good. I should be better at keeping track of which recipes I use, because if they're good, I want to be able to find them again to repeat them. So I made some apple pie filling. I think this is from the same time I got those crab apples. No, this is a different neighbor. Yeah, someone from our town came and brought us some apples, and that was very nice. Most of them were eaten by our 2-year-old because he just loves having apples. But I made some apple pie filling. These jars got extremely full. I'm surprised they even sealed because it's like right up there. And one more, we bought some grapes and made grape juice. I think I have 2 jars left. I only made a few jars and it's very good. So I think that is everything for the canning. It felt like a lot. I did only a few of some of these and like a couple dozen of others. Did a lot of canning, and it was very busy in July, August, September. extremely busy, exhausting, but I did it because I love it and because it's very rewarding for me. And so it was worth it for sure. And I'm really looking forward to next year and thinking, in the meantime, what can I pressure can? So I might be doing some more broth because otherwise it piles up in the freezer in little containers. So I'll probably do some broth. I might do some stew and other soups depending on what we have available for meat. So yeah. So now we're going to talk about the herbs that we grew and dried and a few of the things we've made from them. I think that herbs and growing them and making remedies is my latest, newest passion. It's something, yeah, I'm just very interested in it. It's really fun to read and learn. At first I was very daunted by all the information that I didn't know, but I've just started learning a little bit at a time and knowing that it'll take many, many years to become experienced and really know what I'm doing, but it's really fun to just learn. So last winter, I got this book as a gift, The Healing Garden, and it is just, I would recommend this book for anybody, but especially if you want to grow herbs or know how to use them, it's just beautiful, gorgeous book with tons of recipes, and I've learned so much from it. This was my main inspiration and encouragement for growing herbs, and so I bought a lot of seeds last winter and started a number of things from seed and then bought some plants that I didn't successfully grow from seed. So yeah, that was really, really fun. We grew, let me see here, calendula. So this is something I grew last year. I actually saved the seeds from the calendula that I grew last year, and this is not very many. There were a lot more, but they're so pretty so that I like to use them in bouquets. And so it was kind of, yeah, I felt conflicted between drying the flowers and just enjoying them on the table and in the house. So next year I hope to grow a lot more, so I have lots of calendula for all the uses. This dried flower I'm planning to use for a salve that I am wanting to make. I just have to collect all the ingredients for that, but then I hope that it will be a nice salve. I grew some basil. This is from basil from a plant that I bought, but I did start some basil by seed and it didn't do very well. It was holy basil, so it grew like, you know, this tall. I harvested some leaves. This is actually what I'm drinking in the tea right here, and I love the holy basil tea. It's absolutely delicious. I hadn't really had it before. So yeah, next year I'm hoping to either grow more successfully or buy the plants and have more. So yeah, basil tea is good. I had not thought that it would be good tea, but it's actually delicious tea. I grew some peppermint. Actually, this is spearmint. And some, what's this? Catnip. This is just one of those herbs they recommended growing, and I don't really know how to use it yet. I'm sure I could tincture it, but would I use the tincture? I'm not sure. So I'll have to learn a little bit more about that herb. Same goes for bee balm. I grew it. It's supposed to grow beautiful flowers. My plants did not grow flowers, and they are not perennials, the kind that I grew. So they're not going to be coming back next year, which is sad. So yeah, I'll have to find a use for this bee balm. It makes some pretty potent tea, but it's not my kind of flavor. I grew some chamomile. This, yeah, was really fun to grow, beautiful, and it's good tea to have around. Grew some lavender. So here I separated out, I don't know if it matters for usage purposes, but I have here the leaves from the lavender plants that we grew, and then here are the blossoms. So I also don't really know how to use these. It's something, sometimes you have just a tiny bit amount of something, and it's pretty valuable to you, and then you never end up using it because you don't want to run out. So I should just use it for something. And then we grew some lemon balm. Last year, I think I talked about this, loved lemon balm tea. I grew lots of lemon balm. This year I have several jars this size. And I made some lemon balm infused honey, which, yeah, it was a fun process. Just one of those things I love to learn about and try. And so, yeah, this was delicious, and it should last for years, shelf stable, just like regular honey. And it tastes very good, like lemon balm. So, like a lemony scent, yeah. And then we grew some stevia. So I bought a bunch of stevia plants and used them. I would just, throughout the summer, I'd pinch off the tops of the plants and use them in teas, and that was really fun. And then I harvested the whole plants because they're not going to come back, definitely not going to come back next year. They're like a zone 9 plant, and so dried them, and then I wanted to try making some stevia extract. And I just did this week make some stevia extract from the leaves that we grew. So this is very strong, very potent. It seems to work really well for what I wanted to use it for, which is just putting a couple drops in kefir or tea or yogurt, just different things I want to sweeten in a tiny bit. I don't bake with stevia, I just use it to sweeten little bits here and there, so I don't need it to bake with. So this is the perfect thing. The only other thing I would like to show you is this fire cider that I made. Fire cider is something I'd never tried before, and I watched some YouTube videos and got all excited about trying it. So yeah, this is my first ever batch of fire cider. It was fun making it. It looks so pretty in the jar, and you shake it every day, and now it's this very intense flavor, and it's hard for me to ingest it. Let's just say that. So it might last us a long time.
Whoa! You want to come help Daddy? Big Dad.
So this is the cistern in our basement that we keep all of our canned jars and some vegetables in. So yeah, we would like to build maybe a little bit more shelving, maybe here, to be able to fit more jars next year, or just like, you know, you need a space for empty jars and pots and things like that. So yeah, this is a work in progress, but it works well for this year. So what I just showed you all came from here. We did not intentionally plant potatoes this year, and these, I think we just didn't get all the potatoes last fall, and so some stayed and grew. So yeah, we harvested some potatoes, and that's cool. And then here, actually, we have just a couple of spaghetti squash from our garden last fall, and I'm pretty surprised that they have lasted this long. It's pretty good. And just some acorn squash from grandparents. I really would love to grow more squash next year. This year, the garden just did not have room. We have a small garden, and so we have to kind of choose which vegetables we're gonna pick. And yeah, squash did not get the priority this year. This is very exciting for me to show you, and just that it worked out how it did. We really wanted to be able to grow sweet potatoes. I just love sweet potatoes, and it's been kind of a challenge to try to grow them in our zone 4 area. So yeah, this was part of our harvest. You'll be able to see these 2 baskets, plus just a number of other potatoes that we've given away or eaten already. They taste delicious, and we are hoping they'll stay. I cured them in a warmer upstairs environment and then brought them down here without being washed. I think they'll probably last for a couple of months, hopefully. If they don't, if they start to go soft on us, I'll probably pressure can a bunch and preserve them that way. But I'm just really happy to have sweet potatoes from our own garden. It feels so cool, and definitely something I want to keep doing. So that is everything that we grew and harvested. Obviously, we grew other things that didn't make it into the pantry, didn't grow enough. There are a couple of things that we froze. So we grew a lot of celery, and I just don't use celery a lot unless it's for cooking. And so what I decided to do was just chop a bunch of celery, put it in bags, and whenever I need to use celery for cooking, I just grab it and pour a little into the pan and start frying it. It is extremely convenient to have that. The other thing that we froze was some peppers. We didn't have the most amazing pepper harvest. You'd think we would have had more since we had like 45 or more pepper plants altogether. What we did with the bell peppers that we did have, we sliced them, chopped them, and froze them. And so I just like to pull out some peppers from the freezer and fry them whenever I want that. And then we also put some green beans in the freezer. So that's pretty much what we have in the freezer. We have some carrots in the fridge. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope it was interesting and inspiring for you.